classy here in San Diego on day 2 of Kubecon, Cloud Native Con at the San Diego Convention Center. It's going to be another great day with 12,000 of our closest friends joining with us in all things Kubernetes and Cloud Native. Before we get started with our first interview of the day, I wanted to just welcome you all, whether you're watching on DevOps TV on YouTube or digitalanarchist.live, or perhaps on Facebook Live, LinkedIn Live, or any of our media ops properties. Thank you for joining with us. I think we're going to have a great day of some really interesting speakers, executives, practitioners, all here that make up this cloud native community. We're going to kick it off today with a gentleman I had a chance to watch this past weekend deliver a keynote at the Spinnaker Summit, and that's Mr. Gopal Dommety.
Yes.
And Gopal, is it Gopal or Gopal?
Gopal.
Gopal. Gopal is the CEO, founder of a company called OpsMx.
OpsMx.
And we're going to tell you a little bit more about OpsMx during this interview, so I don't want to let too much out of the bag. But first I want to give Gopal back his credit card because I used it to read his name correctly before someone here starts charging up a storm. Gopal, welcome.
Thank you, Alan. Good morning.
Thank you. So let's first get out of the way a little corporate background, if we will. I don't know if our audience is familiar with OpsMx. Give us a background.
OpsMx started about 3 years ago with the vision that we can ship software with no human intervention. Essentially, you can deliver software, but also verify software as it is being delivered so that you don't need any humans to be intervene, even in decisioning process while delivery. So today, after 3 years later, we're about 60 people. We are funded by Foundation Capital and Dell Technologies.
Fantastic.
We have 19 contributors to the Spinnaker community. We have very large number of customers. And I'm looking forward to Kubecon.
Absolutely. So we're going to talk a bunch about Spinnaker, I think, but one of the things I want to say from the outset that I found interesting in talking to your team at the Spinnaker Summit was, while you do have, which is 19 contributors to Spinnaker on staff, and you keynoted at Spinnaker Summit and you're a big player in the Spinnaker community, the beautiful thing about what OpsMx does is your platform actually can help any CD solution, yes. Not any, but most of the CD solutions out there, right? Yes. And so it's not necessarily Spinnaker specific, though you have deep domain expertise in Spinnaker.
Yes, so OpsMx platform, the continuous delivery platform, consists of two parts. One is the continuously delivering, which is Spinnaker, and the continuously verifying, which we call the autopilot. The Spinnaker, as you know, is popular, used by all the large enterprises, supported by most of the cloud vendors. So it's got a big community. What's interesting, what we built on top of Spinnaker is a continuous verification platform. A continuous verification platform essentially asks this simple question: can I verify a release at each of these stages by looking at all the data in real time that is coming out of running the application, right? So we collect application information, we collect infrastructure information, be it in integration test, in staging, during a canary release, during blue-green release, or even during production. So the goal is to make the delivery safe through observation and machine learning of the application itself. So couple of our customers who use us essentially benchmark us with these simple questions. Can the continuous verification platform, which is called the autopilot, identify problems that our human has identified by looking at it, our best human has looked at it? Can it identify more number of problems than our best human has been able to look at it? Has it been able to identify problems that a human missed, but cause trouble in production. So it's been a hard road. We actually, everybody talks about machine learning, but to actually perfect it took us time. And here we are after 3.5 years.
Yeah.
We have it working.
But that's truly machine learning, and machine learning leading to automation. Some
Exactly.
people call that artificial AI, artificial intelligence. I personally don't buy into that. I think it's machine learning
Yes.
enabling automation. And you know, it
Exactly.
sounds easy, but as you said, the devil's in the details there.
Devil's in the details. It is automation. It is automating the decisions that a human being is making, essentially.
Absolutely. So now that we've got that out of the way, let's now turn, as I mentioned, I'm not familiar with OpsMx, but I saw your keynote at the Spinnaker Summit, and for our audience, you know, the weekend before Kubecon this year, the Spinnaker Summit was held right here at the Hard Rock Hotel in San Diego. And there was, I want to say there was 400 or 500 people registered.
Yeah, in the 500 to 600. Yeah,
Yeah.
around the 500 people registered.
I think that's what the
yeah.
producers told me, about 500 people. And it was really good because there was you know, this is a great sense of community, but at 12,000 people, it's not intimate, right? At 500 people, you could still do a rather intimate
Yes,
event.
yes.
And so it was passion and intimacy as part of that community. As I said, you delivered a keynote though. Why don't you share a little bit about what your keynote was about with our audience?
So my keynote was about how can we make Spinnaker a ubiquitous declarative continuous delivery platform. Just like Kubernetes today is declarative infrastructure, and if you look at the trajectory, we had bare metal, we had virtualization, we had containers, we had declarative infrastructure. The next phase, I believe, is going to be declarative continuous delivery.
Yep.
Right. So the default. So to me, as I looked at Spinnaker grow from, I was involved with Spinnaker right from the beginning. Now we have 10,000 people in the community. And I look at it, and now I'm projecting forward and saying, okay, what are we seeing from customers, and how could Spinnaker grow to become ubiquitous? The three things that are that I have observed is, one, Spinnaker has to be scalable. So, and which is OpsMx is making. What does scalable mean? It has to work across several regulatory environments. It has to deliver more than just microservices. It has to deliver microservices loosely coupled, tightly coupled monoliths. It has to deliver across devices infrastructure, not just public cloud or containers, but it has to also deliver across bare metal. So that's the scalable part of it. The second is that Spinnaker has to become simplified, simple to deploy, simple to operate, and more importantly, simple to onboard users and simple to deliver. So OpsMx is obviously doing several things to make that easy. And the third dimension is to make it safe. See, once you have scalable, which essentially scales, once you have simple, it actually improves speed, but then you need to reduce the risk levels, make it reliable. That's the safe. Safe essentially is safe to deliver and safe to operate. That's where the continuous verification platform comes on top of Spinnaker.
Yep.
So we believe that those are the three pillars to making Spinnaker ubiquitous.
Yeah. And it's my take. It was my first Spinnaker Summit, so my takeaway from it was, Spinnaker. Look, it was developed by Netflix and with Google, so you knew it was an enterprise kind of class solution. But really, when you look at the companies using it, there's a lot of big enterprise companies that are using Spinnaker. Now, again, for our audience, Spinnaker, along with Tecton, right, was given to the auspices of the CDF, Continuous Delivery Foundation, which is a sister foundation to Cloud Native Computing Foundation.
Correct.
Under the Linux Foundation umbrella. So Spinnaker is now managed and governed by CDF. OpsMx is a member of CDF, I understand.
Yes, OpsMx is a member of CDF.
So I have this theory around open source that right now we're in really a golden age of open source, right? And open source has been around for 20 or 25 years, and we've seen it come from, the cathedral and the bazaar, like the book, and
Yes.
and then there was sort of a big brother where only one company would sponsor a project. It was their project, and they did it for their own. And now we're in this sort of foundation era of open source. And it's good because a company like OpsMx can make contributions to Spinnaker
Absolutely.
without having to worry about that it's solely for the benefit of the big brother who was, owning or
Owning.
benefiting, running it. How do you find first of all, when did you join CDF?
We joined the CDF almost around the foundation of CDF.
Right around when it came out.
Yes.
How has your experience been?
Yeah, so, before I answer your question, so if you think about, I've been very involved with the internet. In fact, I wrote my first internet protocol in the 1998 era, which is very widely deployed. Now, when I look back at the success of the internet, it is because a lot of people have come in and contributed as a community to it with no vendor affiliation. In fact,
Right.
in IETF, there's no vendor affiliation was the rule, right? Now, if you see enterprise software being done, it started with very commercial sort of closed source way to one company having control of the open source to a lot of different companies, sort of foundation doing
Right,
the
a
open source,
foundation
right?
model.
And to me, it is the democratization of how software is basically done
Yep.
to the benefit of humankind, if I may use that word.
No, it is for the benefit of all of us, right?
Yes, yes. So on that note, we're very excited that Spinnaker is part of the foundation, and obviously in the foundation there are several CDF and there are several other continuous delivery sort of platforms, and so I think it's a beautiful effort to make continuous delivery mainstream, because
Yeah.
when continuous delivery was sort of, there was continuous integration, but the delivery was sort of tagged on to integration, but now because of Kubernetes, it's sort of becoming its own.
Well, because I think a lot of the integration became very commoditized, if
Yes.
you will, right?
Yes, yes.
And there's no lack of CI vendors out on that show floor out there. I think CD is where the act is at. But it's interesting. So you talk about the democratization of software. I think one of the things that is enabling that and goes hand in hand with it is the democratization of developers.
Absolutely.
Right?
That is the catalyst.
Yeah, right. Because now developers, it used to be. It was like, being an apprentice at a blacksmith. You went in and these are the tools you use, and these are the tools you use. You don't get to pick your own tools. These are the tools that the company approves. And today, developers have a chance to say, no, these are the tools we're going to use.
Yes,
And so it
because
gives
they are
them-
the real users.
Yeah.
Right? And today, as a world, we are going towards more personalized tools.
Yeah, and we are. Everyone gets to pick their tools. Now, we've seen some of this with computer languages where every master's or graduate student writes his own language. And so you go to an enterprise, maybe does some mergers and acquisitions, and they've got 25 different languages they're supporting. And some are dead ends and some are kind of done, So I think you got to be careful of that, right? You can't.
Absolutely. So for
Water
example,
that down.
Spinnaker provides an abstraction layer to be able to allow that to get folded in. So
Yeah.
I think the key is, how do you have a platform like Spinnaker or what continuous verification OpsMx is doing that lets this power of the developer to thrive, the innovation, and still put sort of a structure around it.
I agree.
Yes.
Yeah. So, it's certainly interesting times. Gopal, we're almost out of time, though. So
Thank you.
I apologize, but one last thing I want for our audience. Where can we go find out more information about OpsMx?
So two places. You can go to opsmx.com, and then we have a booth here. Please
But
stop
if
by.
you're watching live, right? Well, people watching live are generally at home.
Yes.
But OpsMx is opsmx.com.
.com.
And we can find out more there. And of course, You could follow along at the CD Foundation, which you're part of, as well as the Spinnaker community.
Yes, please, come to OpsMx.com and we'll tell you more about us.
All right.
Thank you.
Gopal, a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Gopal Dommety from OpsMx. Check him out. Really great automation platform working within Spinnaker as well as other CD tools. This is Alan Schimmel for MediaOps, DevOps.com. We'll be right back with another guest here live in San Diego.